Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Pro Engineering. This is episode 300. I had a lot of input on what to do in this episode, but the thing is, all the ideas, though very entertaining and I think very good, and we'll probably do them in the future, well, they kind of paled in comparison to something that was a lot more important. Many of you are aware by some of my posts on Facebook and on Instagram that in January, a very close friend of mine, Artie, passed away from COVID. This person is probably more important to you all out there than you believe. So I'd like to explain why. The first Tamiya RC car I had ever seen was his Lunchbox back in 1992, around there. And that Lunchbox was what got me into the Midnight Pumpkin, then my Hornet, the RC10, and the collection that I'm sure all of you are well aware of now. In all honesty, without my friend Artie, Pro Engineering, as a company that makes parts for RC cars, especially for Tamiyas, would not exist. Anybody out there that has parts for a Hornet, a Midnight Pumpkin, Lunchbox, practically every Tamiya that we've ever done upgrades for would not have those parts. So we can all thank Artie for his timeless input into not only Pro Engineering, but into the RC car hobby forever. I mean, that's really true. So for this episode, what I'd like to do is reach out to a couple of my really good friends and just talk about some RC car stories with us and Artie. I really hope you enjoy it. This is completely different than what we've ever had on this channel, but I think it's incredibly important to give credit to the man who basically created Pro Engineering. And a lot of you out there thank me all the time for my designs. You guys are all thanking the wrong person. You should be thanking my buddy Artie, because again, without him, we would not be doing what we're doing. All right, well, without further ado, I would love to introduce two of my oldest and most attractive friends, John and Brandon. We've known Artie for a long time, but I believe that started with Brandon. Now, Brandon, am I right? Was it Artie's mom that told you that I guess your parents had met when you were babies?
Yes, her and my mom actually met because our older siblings, Ray and his two sisters, they were in the same class and they were taking tennis lessons together. And so their moms would, take them, drop them off at tennis lessons, and they would stay, to watch or whatever. And me and Artie were there together as babies. But
That's fantastic.
time goes on, and then so I didn't actually know Artie till he came to school with us in fifth grade. I heard that story before, but the other day, she reminded me of it. Her and my mom were talking, and I was like, "Oh, this all sounds very familiar." And I was able to actually hear the story and get all the details, which is why I know it now.
that's funny, because I know my mom told me that I guess Artie and I were in the mommy and me class with both moms. And yeah, my mom, I guess she had met his mom years before, and then because I started St. Chris in sixth grade, which is when I met Artie.
Yeah.
And then John, you met Artie in freshman year of high school.
Freshman year of high school, yeah. It was the first day. Yeah, it was the very first day of class, homeroom. I went to a Catholic school in elementary and junior high, and our school kind of ushered in students to one particular other Catholic high school. So all my friends from junior high went there. I went to Bishop, and that's where I met Artie. And it's my first day of high school. Awkward, didn't know a soul, and when you're that young and that insecure and everything like that, it's all about the first impressions and who you meet right away. And I sat right behind Artie. Here he was, first day of class, kind of awkward, and he kind of hobbled in and sat down in front of me and just turned around and said, "Hey, I'm Artie. What's your name?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm John." And that's how I met Phil. That's how I met you, Alberto, and that's how I met Brandon after Brandon came from his other high school. So
yeah, that's a good point, because
it was like a pivotal, life-changing moment.
Yeah,
no, I mean, you're right. Artie was one of the first people I met too on my first day at St. Christopher's in sixth grade. It was Artie, who came up to me and went, "Hey, I'm Artie."
Yeah,
And,
exactly, just like that. Yeah,
just like that. Now I'm trying to remember exactly how it came out, because obviously we're going to talk about Artie's amusing anecdotes in the RC
Yeah.
car world. But I'm trying to remember here how that actually happened, on how I found out that Artie liked RC cars. I want to say it was probably you, Brandon, because I do remember in 6th grade, was it you or him that brought the sport truck? What was it? Was that Parma?
Parma. It was probably Artie, and that was what kind of got me back into RC cars, because I'd been into it as a kid. And, I had inherited my brother's older his Sand Scorcher and the other things, and I was dealing with 10-year-old technology, so I kind of lost interest in it. And I was like, oh, this is fun, but this isn't that great. And then I became friends with Artie, and it was like, oh my god, they're so much faster now. There's so much. I was like, hey, like, look at that thing. That thing looks like that thing looks dirt cheap. Looks like a slot car with a motor on it. I'll get one of those, and then we can drive together.
Yeah, because I remember very distinctively at school, Artie brought it into class, and I want to say I remember him driving it, but I genuinely don't. And then at that point, I do remember going to Artie's house, and I've told this story a million times. I went to Artie's house, and it was me and Ricky that were over there. And we walked into the house, walked into his bedroom, and I'll never forget his bedroom. And both of you remember his bedroom. So if I'm forgetting anything, please let me know. You walked in, and to the left was a bunk bed.
The bunk bed. I forgot about that.
It was the bunk bed.
I forgot about that.
And it was mostly piled in clothes. And to the right was the big wooden dresser with the stereo on top of it.
I think it weighed a ton.
Yes, with the stereo on top. There's another dresser in the back right corner. But when you first walked in, to the right next to you was the hamper. So I walked in, I sat on the bed. Artie was messing with the radio. He was putting something on. And I looked to the right, and sitting there is this garbage thing shaped as a van. And I say garbage because even though this is 6th grade, so what year is 6th grade? 92?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. The Lunchbox wasn't that old then, but by 92, it had been through several fires because he liked to spray it in spray glue. Hairspray too, and then set it on fire, and then let it
drive around.
Let it go. So
that's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. The body mounts were paper clips. My favorite was the front suspension. He had taken, and I'm gonna see if you remember this, Brandon, but instead of the proper front suspension, he had jammed in these little tiny gold oil-filled shocks at an angle and held them in with wood screws.
I remember the wood screws. I don't know that I ever looked close enough to know what their purpose was, but I've never seen the ends down through the top. I'm like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, the body was all rattle canned in black and badly. There was runs in it, and who knows, it was a mess. And he spray painted over the chrome, over everything. The front tires, the Lunchbox has a really bad problem where the center hub likes to separate from the rim because it's just not well designed. So he had done that, and he had repaired it by taking zip ties and zip tying either side and then just slathering it in glue. So it worked. I suppose it worked. At that point, do you remember what motor he had in it?
He had that 9-turn Trinity motor in it.
And how did he get that motor?
That they had at Tony's Hobbies, and Tony wouldn't sell it to him. And I want to put that. No, don't put that in your Lunchbox. Don't put that in your lunch. You would not sell it to him. So he just waited till the day when Tony wasn't there. And Chewy was more than happy to sell it to him. Oh yeah, you want that, Artie? Here you go.
Come on, guy. Here's a 9-turn guy.
We should probably bring that up too, because our hobby shop of choice was Tony's Hobbies, and I believe even you, John, your first RC car came from Tony's, right?
Yeah. Well, no, mine came from Joey. I think I bought Joey's RC10.
Oh,
RC10. That's right.
That's right. That's one ugly mug.
That is one ugly mug. It had the solid wheels, like not spoked. Just the stock wheels with
the 3-piece wheels that screw together.
Yes, it was
exactly.
the RC10.
You want the heaviest wheels,
heaviest possible. It was
they weighted. It was
the gold pan, full bushing, cheap as possible. So the hobby shop was Tony's Hobbies and Toys, which is still around, just not there. It's actually got a really nice facility in Baldwin Park now.
Yes,
Tony owned the shop, and some of his employees were Ian and Chewy. Chewy was the father, Ian was the son, and the mom was Miss Ming. Ian and Chewy would sell you anything at all. Tony, the owner, would definitely be a little bit more ethical on this. Like when a 12-year-old walks in with a lunchbox and says, "Give me the 9 turn," Tony would shoo you away. Whereas Ian and Chewy, there you go. It's all yours, whatever you want. So yeah, Artie's lunchbox was insanely overpowered. So the thing was undrivable.
The first time watching him drive it, it was just, me and him, either I didn't have a car yet or mine wasn't working because like I said, we'd been driving those Parma cars. But the first time watching it and we were out on the street, I was like, okay, this is going to be great. And literally all it did was like do wheelies, flip over and roll down.
That's it. That's the first thing. That's exactly what happened the first time that I saw. It was he used to on the front yard on the lawn. He's like, "Oh yeah, this thing's awesome. Check it out." He would just gun it, and it would just pop wheelies and like literally just flip over.
Yeah,
like
that's
under its own power, just under its own acceleration, it would just flip over.
That's probably the 9-turn Trinity.
To ride the wheelie and get it going straight, it would very quickly go out of control and just roll down the street.
Well, he told me about one time after he put that motor in it, his neighbor Steve had come over who had the Midnight Pumpkin. They'd sprayed the thing down with spray glue, set it on fire, sent it off, and it shot directly into a bush. So now it's on fire in the bush. I don't know what happened, but that's what he had told me. And what's funny too is that he had the Airtronics Champ. Why do I remember this? That was the ESC in it, and that in no way could control that motor. It was way too underpowered. And I just remember Artie's ability to wire things. It was non-existent. Everything was stripped, twisted together, scotch taped back together, but he managed to keep things running.
Yeah,
he did. But now briefly I want to talk about the RC cars he has had. We all remember the Lunchbox. In fact, hang on, before I even forget, this is Artie's Lunchbox body, which is hard to believe because it's not melted here anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what you call 4 years of body work. So, but this is genuinely Artie's Lunchbox body. So this is here. So he had his Lunchbox. He had the Parma Sport Truck. He had what was the on-road associated, the TC3, right?
Yeah, TC3. Oh, that's right. He bought that later.
He had it, and he had upgraded everything on it, and then refused to drive it. He had that blue anodized 10T, the RC10T.
Oh, okay.
But
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one that Brandon and I had
Did he have any Tamiyas or no? He never had a Tamiya. Did he?
The Lunchbox is a Tamiya.
Oh, yeah.
But he had another Tamiya. Which other Tamiya did he have? Give you a hint, Brandon. He spent $300 on it over the course of 2 years.
Yep. He had the Clodbuster.
Oh!
I only remember seeing it run one time.
No, exactly.
At Covina Racing. Were you there?
I was there.
I wasn't.
Everyone's it's just like struggling to get over the tiniest of bubs.
The funny thing about Clodbusters, I have gotten constant requests on, well, why don't you have a Clodbuster? Why don't you have a Clodbuster? The reason I don't have a Clodbuster is, I'm sorry to say this, I hate the Clodbuster, and it's because of Artie, solely because of Artie. I remember the day that we went to the hobby shop, he gave the last $5 bill. He put it on layaway. It was on display in the glass counter in the front. His mom took us to Covina Racing, which was that Badillo?
No, it was San Bernardino Road.
San Bernardino Road. The facility is still there. It's obviously not.
The building's still there.
Yeah, it's obviously not Covina Racing anymore. That's been gone since the early 90s. And it was an 8th scale gas track. Okay.
Oh,
was it indoors or outdoors?
Indoor, right?
It was indoors. They ran gas cars indoors.
It's the smell of
the smell of nitro in the morning. So Artie gets the Clodbuster out, and it was running 6D batteries. Okay, that's how it came. It was like, 4,000 milliamp. Oh my God. So he puts the car on the track. This is the first time he'd ever driven it, and he floors it naturally toward a double. The Clodbuster just launches up over it, lands, and all 4 body mounts shoot straight through the body And that was it. The body done. And over the course of the next, I don't know, 45 minutes, that $300 Clodbuster turned into a 30-cent heap of crap spread across the entire track. He annihilated that truck, absolutely trashed it. And that was the first and last time he ever had the Clodbuster. But what he drove there all the time was the Lunchbox. And what you probably had your 10T over there.
Yeah.
I don't think you probably never went, John, because I think this place shut down in like 7th grade.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of. I
thinking of the
definitely did do.
ranch.
I did go. I went to the ranch, but no, there was another indoor place that had a both.
M&M.
M&M.
Way
That was
down
where I
in-
got into a fight.
No,
with
but
Kim
that
Walton.
M&M wasn't gas. There was another place that had an actual banked oval.
That is still there.
Revelation.
Was that?
No, that wasn't Revelation.
No, the one I don't think Brandon was there. That was in SoCal. I remember.
That
I
sounds.
remember the one. It had the indoor off-road track, and then it had the banked oval that was full of rich 11-year-olds.
Oh
yeah,
God,
I
annoying AF.
Now,
Annoying
that was
AF.
the worst. That was the worst time I've ever had a track before.
They were
Yeah, that's what you guys are
so.
saying.
They were like
I-
cliques.
I-
They were
I
like
didn't-
gangs, and they would intentionally bump you and
Yeah,
run you
that
off the
was
course
awful.
intentionally.
Yeah.
If they didn't know you.
Yeah, it was a waste of time. We went there once, and that was it.
Mhm.
But at Covina Racing, we would go there fairly often because it was close by the house. Artie, I remember one time had the Lunchbox. Is one of my favorite stories. He was the worst driver. Obviously, very few people watching this know Artie, but he didn't have the greatest vision. So obviously, if you don't have the best vision, the best way to combat that is to drive as fast as humanly possible in something poorly lit, because that's going to counter.
Well, that's why you light it on fire, so you can see where.
Also lighted on fire. Exactly.
Yes.
So he had his Lunchbox, and I remember I was there with my RC10 or my Pumpkin, one of the two. And he took the Lunchbox and he launched it off the tabletop. Well, the thing is, when he landed, he missed the track. So he landed outside of the track and still full throttle. So the sound it made when it hit the ground was the sound of the gearbox splitting in half, the diff gear exploding, the front tire shot off the truck, ran down the entire driveway and into the street where it was never seen again. And I'll never forget the sound of so many things crunching at once. And I just remember there was all these people there watching Artie driving around. And when that happened,
they're just like thoroughly entertained by it.
oh, absolutely.
You have cycles, or you have to charge batteries, or repair things. So
Yeah.
So it was like all the guys that were there to like actually drive. They'd go out, they'd drive and do their thing, and then we would come out and be like a demolition entertainment show for them.
Yeah. Pretty much. Even I never had a good time at that track. This was before I knew how to really rebuild a transmission. So I had the 6-gear trans on my RC10, and every time I'd launch and jump and land the car, I'd blow out the 2 idler gears because I wasn't aware that the external diff was also the slipper. So I never greased it. So I always had a terrible time at that track. But needless to say, that was the last time I believe that Artie ran that Lunchbox for many years. And then it was, hang on, before I get to that, we were forgetting one RC car. Do you remember the RC car that Artie used to get all the parts off of to fix the Lunchbox?
No.
He had a Kyosho Raider.
Oh, the Raider!
So there are 2 RC cars I hate. The Cloudbuster and the Raider. And it's both because of Artie. So anybody out there, don't yell at me. It's Artie's fault that I hate those 2 cars. They were just always a disaster, and it's always his fault. And my reason for hating it is completely ridiculous, but nevertheless, I think in like 97 for his birthday,
yeah,
we all raised a bunch of money and bought him a proper battery, the Volkswagen transport body.
Oh,
which was cool.
It's
Remember
right.
that had the option. It was a Beetle. It was a bus, but it had the option where you could cut it off, and it had the insert you could put in there to make it the transport.
That's right. That's right. We bought chrome wheels for it from another car. got the whole thing sorted, probably put some kind of, I forget what ESC and motor, but we got the whole thing fixed. We had it all box for him for his birthday. And when he opened the box, what was in it?
What I forgot.
You,
Maybe I did.
you
I know
put your GT in it.
Really?
You put your RC10 GT in it. And Artie was like,
I didn't have,
dude, he takes it out. And you're like, give me that.
I didn't have a GT in high school.
What was the 10T then?
Maybe.
It was
Huh.
DS.
No, the DS I got for graduation.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
the 10T I got a year or two later.
Well, sorry.
It must have been the 10T then.
Sorry, yeah, it must have been.
Either way, so he was all excited. You took it away from him and you threw the lunchbox at him.
No, we drove it in from the other room. I believe I drove it in.
You're right. This is why we're doing this. Otherwise, I would have told the story wrong. You're right. No,
Maybe that's why I don't remember what was in the box, because I was in the kitchen or the living room, and I drove it. I don't remember if I don't think I did. I don't think I launched it downstairs. Maybe we set up a ramp or something, but I remember driving it. I remember being in the other room and driving it in.
You're right. That's what happened. We drove it to him. That's right.
And then he could not believe, because you took it. You stole it, didn't you? What was left of it?
That was the second time that was the first time I'd stolen it. I stole it one more time fairly recently, but
which is why you have it now.
Well, that's why I have the body anyway. Yeah. And so that
his mom was in on it, and so here's this box of crap.
Exactly. And we gave him the car, and then we ended up going to the ranch pit stop. It was a pit stop, right? It wasn't pit shop.
Ranch pit stop.
Oh, pit stop. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was in Pomona, and that was there until, I would say fairly recently. It's been gone a long time. And that was a fairly popular track back in the day. Huge outdoor track. So we all went. I think it was just the three of us, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We'd been there before,
That was my first time, though. And that's where Aaron,
time.
That's where it was my first time. And then that's where I met Aaron. And he was openly mocking the, shall we say, the aesthetics of my RC10.
I probably had my RC10. I think you had your 10T. Needless to say, the three of us were not having a good day.
No,
all cars were running like crap.
Worst luck.
It was terrible. Things were breaking. And again, this is something that people don't really deal with nowadays, but we had a couple of 1700 milliamp NiCad batteries, which had to cool down. Then they had to charge. Then they had to cool down after they charged. So you're talking about an hour between batteries, and maybe we had 2 or 3 per car, but it basically most of the day you're doing nothing. So we're all sitting there, and Artie is seemingly on the track right now with a couple of like 1200 milliamp Duratrack batteries, but he's got the 540 in the lunchbox, so he's just able to putz this thing around.
Correct motor for it.
Yeah, exactly. Surprise, surprise. So I remember we're all just kind of sitting there in the pits, just looking at Artie. And at first it doesn't really dawn on us, but we're just kind of watching him and realizing, he's not crashing.
Yeah,
driving around.
Generally expect to happen.
Yeah, and we're like, he's just
10 as soon as it starts moving 10 feet. Oh, it crashed. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do now?
But this time he just wasn't crashing. And I remember we were sitting by the tabletop, and at one point he launches off the tabletop, lands, gets sideways, and power slides across the top of the tabletop and then down the front face. And I'm just like, I mean,
who is that guy?
This
is that Brian Kinwell or is it Artie?
Yeah, no, it was insane. And then going across the whoops, the Lunchbox's wheelbase was just up one, launch, clear the gap, down the other. And it was just, I mean, this is a car with friction shocks and Chevron tires.
If I recall correctly, he wasn't running the whole track. There was a part, he can't see that far.
I think you're right.
But there's one spot where he would cut off like the back straightaway and then just like hit the tabletop, the whoops, and the front straightaway.
Yeah. And he would just do this over and over. And it wasn't until like maybe about a minute and a half into this where we looked around to discover that he was the only person on the track. Every single other person, people in the driver's stand, people in the pits, were all just sitting there staring. That's a fantastic shot, by the way, John.
Sorry.
That is not being cut out. That's perfect. But the whole time, everybody is staring at Artie driving this piece of crap little truck better than anybody else on the track could have imagined to drive whatever high-end Inferno or RC10 or Losi he was shredding the track.
just like style points, and then wheeling down the straightaway.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was insanity, and I
I don't
wasn't
think
able
I
to
could ever
go.
do that.
No, I couldn't go 5 feet without the thing flipping over, my car flipping over.
The transport body probably helped.
It was a lot lighter than the
lower
Lunchbox.
center of gravity.
Yes, it was a lot lighter. But needless to say, it was that one time, that one battery pack, that one moment in history where Artie was the world's greatest driver. When we used to go to Cal Poly to drive on that back tiered, did Artie ever go to that? He did, right?
No, that was just the three of us.
It was just us. Yeah, he didn't come. That's when the cop came over, and it was actually really cool because he took pictures with the cars. I forget what he was.
Yeah, and I do have photos of those.
And then,
we offered
then
him
also
food.
your Pinto, the battery died.
Yes,
and we jerry-rigged some jumper cables and used a back, like it was like a backhoe that was parked from construction to jumpstart your car, I think.
Yeah, because we rolled the car. For those of you who don't know, the back parking lot at Cal Poly in Pomona is 3-tiered. It's just on the side of a hill. So we pushed the car to go down the 3 tiers.
Well, first we tried to get some help, and nobody would help us.
Nobody would help us.
Yeah, we called the police, the campus PD, and they said, "Sorry, we don't do that." Because this was Christmas break.
Yes.
And so we were there by ourselves. We called campus PD. They refused to come help. We tried to get a hold of the campus
parking services.
Yeah, and they're like, "We'll call campus PD." We did. I didn't have AAA.
I didn't have a cell phone. I mean, at the time.
No, that's right. We called using the call box.
The call box.
You're right.
Or,
We didn't have
it was a
anything.
payphone, maybe.
Yeah. This is like 2001, so it's not like everybody's busting out their iPhone. This is before all that.
Yeah, they usually have the blue light on top. It's the
yes, exactly, and that's what we use. And they all said tough because this is you. Why are you?
Not an emergency. Sorry,
yeah,
call AAA. But we don't. I didn't have AAA.
Pulled out of session. Go home, nerds.
Yeah, we're a number of college males that have nothing else better to do and play with toy cars. That's what we're doing here. Why? What? So then we gave up and we had to push the car. We rolled it down the hill. Right by where they were doing construction, where we found a back.
Well, no, first we rolled up and the guys were still there. We're like, "Hey, can you help us out?" Now we're leaving. Bye.
I didn't remember that.
It was toward the end of the day, to be honest. To be fair,
it was the end of the day.
It was winter
in 5 seconds, but no one wanted to help.
No.
Yeah.
So we pushed the car right next to a tractor. We went walking around and found random bits of cable.
Yeah,
we
opened. So lucky that they're the length and thickness that they were. They were like ideal jumper cables, like just laying on the ground.
Exactly. So we opened the random tractor. We tapped the 2 terminals to one, went to the Pinto, and fired the car up. I to this day cannot believe that we were able to get the car started and drove it home, because the year later we tried to kill the battery again and it refused to die.
Well, on purpose. We had an extra battery in the back, for when we did.
Yeah, but we also had the Omni and probably the Focus, or was it the Honda? I don't remember.
I think I got the Focus 99.
I actually have photos. I'm sure they'll be up right now when I scan them for this video.
That's John.
Small modification needed. Look at it.
Oh really? With Utah, Miss, everything is small.
So fast, even in my hand. It's so you. I'm trying to blame this on me.
Okay. Okay, we go down there to the end by the street. We turn around. We go to this pole right here.
39.
You sorry? Right here, 39 right there. Okay, you turn around there. Okay. You ready to go? John, what's wrong with you?
I broke an antenna too. I could take it off, or just take that part off and put it, but my fingers are too cold. I can't do the body clip.
Another fantastic Artie story was the one that Usha told. I didn't go to school with Usha. Brandon and John did.
Yep.
This is probably Brandon's doing, but apparently one of us, I guess must have been Brandon because I didn't go to school with her, invited her to go driving in Santa Monica. And she really didn't know what that meant. So a mutual friend was Artie. So that she goes to Artie and says, "Hey, Brandon said that he wants me to go with him to the beach and drive RC cars or something." And Artie's like, "Oh yeah, you totally should go. You totally should go." And she's like, "Really? Oh yeah. They're really cool guys. You should totally go over there." So she does. So needless to say,
I started thinking back, and it's like we went there a lot.
We did go there a lot.
Nothing else to do, and it was like go here, and I think parking was free.
Parking was free.
It will Will Rogers State
Will
Beach.
Rogers State Beach.
Little Rogers State Beach.
I don't
Yeah.
know parking this
And it
street.
was like,
Oh,
we
it's
wouldn't go
free
in
if
the
you park on
summer.
PCH. Yes, if you park on PCH, and you get there early, it's totally free.
no, we were in the parking lot.
Yeah, we were in the parking lot. We would always go in the parking lot and go toward the end of it, and we were always deserted.
Yeah, where there was no other cars.
Yeah. I'll explain what we were doing there in a second. So Usha does end up going with us. When she gets there, she finally realizes what an RC car is. She's like, oh, what the hell is this? So she was a good sport. The whole day happened. We had a great time. She goes back to tell Artie, and she's like, "Yeah, Artie, thanks for letting me know. It was a lot of fun, and they were really cool." And Artie's like, "Wait." You mean you actually went with them? So Artie was trolling her the whole time. He knew we weren't cool. Not then, not now, not ever have Brandon and I been cool enough to hang out with a random girl in a parking lot driving toy cars. It's never happened. Artie, what a jerk. We used to go there with Artie all the time too. And
wait, John, did you ever go?
I think I went once with y'all. I was at Loyola Marymount at the time, which is not far from it's like right down the street from Santa Monica. And I went once, but it was one of those things where it's like all my RC stuff was at my home in the burbs and not in my college dorm.
Right.
So it was like one of those things where I think I had to borrow a car or something like that. You know, we always have an extra radio.
Or you just go to hang out anyway.
Or just go to hang out. But
because you met Spider-Man.
No, I did not. I wasn't there that trip.
That was me, you, and Artie, Alberto.
I know, but we had seen Spider-Man a couple times. Remember, we were on the beach at one point.
No, that was the same day. We saw him twice on the same day.
No, but we had gone back again and seen him again because it wasn't just the one time we had seen him.
Sure?
No, I distinctly remember going back.
You sure?
Yes, absolutely. We saw him twice. No, I agree. We saw him multiple times in the same day, but we had also seen him on multiple occasions. I think it was only twice, but I do remember us being on the beach and we see him walking down the little bike path. We're like, Spider-Man! And he shouts back, "What's up?" So it was like we knew this random guy, but we would specifically go to the beach because the parking lot was really long. One of us would drive the real car.
I forgot about that.
The other
would drive the RC car from the passenger seat.
Exactly. We would be in the passenger seat driving the toy car next to the big car and just go back and forth in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. But then, we would go there in the truck a lot too. And
that's what I remember. Now that you mentioned driving with I remember we were in the Pinto.
Yeah.
Maybe the first time.
I think the Omni too. Maybe even the Tercel.
Oh yeah, I remember taking the Omni too.
Yeah,
remember that.
Yeah, so we did that.
And sometimes we just go. Like I said, we went there a lot.
We went there a lot.
A lot. But yeah, the time. I think the most important story to tell though is the initial story of meeting Spider-Man. Yeah, we at that time we had the Toyota because the back was open and Artie was sitting on the tailgate. And this random guy comes walking up with it. Did he have a shopping cart? No, he him.
Didn't. This random guy comes walking, super skinny guy. You can tell he's on a few things. Could not be friendlier. And he's talking, he's looking at the toy cars and telling us about this and that. He tells us that he's got some shopping cart with an engine that has, I forget what, it had a lot of horsepower. I don't know why the shopping cart has an engine.
Yeah,
but
I believe he said it was for a parade that he was in.
Perhaps
some kind of yearly event that he took part in.
Perhaps. I only wish that there's one space here in the Zoom call. I only wish he was here to let us know. So he was telling us about this random shopping cart he had, but as he would talk to us, he would kind of like scoot closer and closer and closer to Artie. He just kind of started
drawn to him.
So at one point, he puts his arm around him. And we think that this is the funniest thing that's ever happened. Artie is petrified. He's like, this random guy he's hugging me. And he keeps just like rubbing his back, his shoulder. And as good friends, we do nothing.
Yeah.
We're enjoying absolutely not. We're just gonna let it see where this goes. Needless to
Well,
say,
he's still talking. He's still talking about
he's talking.
Stopping
Yeah.
car technology. This particular vehicle here runs on juice.
That's right. That's
These other ones are electric. Like you break it all down
right.
for us.
Can I just say just for a moment that is my DS there?
Oh, the yeah.
Can you punch it for me?
This is how it's been ever since you gave it to me.
That's how that's how it deserves
I don't
to
feel
be.
I don't feel the least bit bad telling you. You know, you gave it to me along with the lead chute directly in the trash.
No, the worst body ever. The lead chute, by the way, was a 69 Torino body. And the moment we installed it onto the car, it cut top speed in half.
Yeah, you didn't particularly care for the fact that the sides of the body were not contoured. So to correct that, you double stick tape some brass strips to the inside and then use those to get that proper contour on there.
Oh, that's right.
Adjusted to perfection.
So what you want to do to lightweight Lexus bodies, let's add some brass to it.
I did. It was still the fact that the whole body just stopped the air. That wasn't the only problem. And the fact that car would roll over inward onto
that was the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I hate that.
You were driving right next to me and then flipped over to the inside of a turn. And we went over there to look for irregularities in the pavement, rocks, anything that could have, I was a good 3 feet away from you when it happened. It's like, what, why?
No, we'll never know. So back to Spider-Man.
Body was so terrible because the Charger body I had, it was
fine. The Charger was fine.
Just fine.
Yeah, it was the Torino. It was the worst. Anyway, I'm glad you have the car. I hate it. So Spider-Man is still looking at our cars and doing all these random things. And out of the blue, he stops. He looks at Artie and he goes, "Now you." Now you I can fit in my pocket. And that's just what he said.
And then he continues talking with us.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I just needed to say that. Something I had to get off my chest.
It's not like Artie was a tiny guy. How tall? Is he the same height as you, Brandon?
A little shorter.
He wasn't like this.
But I'm not very tall, so
we don't know. And the thing is, Spider-Man must have weighed 34 pounds. He was just some bones with some skin painted on. That's all.
He was like 6'5".
He was a very tall man, and yet he loved Artie. He absolutely loved him, and the groping did not stop there. He just kept grabbing him and hugging him, and like I said, as good friends, we just let it play out. There was the time that we got rolled by the fuzz at the structure on Holt.
Was he there that day?
Artie was hanging out in the Omni on the bottom level of the parking structure.
I mean, you were on top, and we saw them pull in.
Yes,
to the bottom, so we ran down there.
Yeah,
after you ditched your blade.
Oh, is that when the cops came and they said you have burglaring tools?
Yeah, we had like a pair of channel locks.
We had we had like Lexan, scissors, to cut bodies and
trim
soldering iron and and some 12 gauge wire and stuff like that.
It's Mission Impossible in the back of the office.
Yeah, no, and it's ridiculous.
The cop rolled up. He's like, "What are y'all doing here?" We're like, we went because the parking structure had outlets,
live outlets
and free electricity. It was lit.
It wasn't gigantic, but it was like, man, I got 2 levels because we could stand on that one corner and drive down to the bottom level, drive around that little picnic table, and then come back up. It's like, and
it was awesome. It was awesome. And the thing is, it's like this wasn't an isolated. And I hope the people watching this feel our pain, because no matter where we would go to drive RC cars, we'd find somewhere well lit, and that if you're going to commit a crime, you don't go somewhere where there's lights and you hang out.
And then you don't, fire up a nitro powered vehicle.
Exactly.
I'm creating a diversion.
That's what you remember the time that we were at Cal Poly, and the cops came, and we had the yellow Pinto, and the cops.
That was the most recent time at the new parking structure.
Yeah, we're driving the RC cars, while 2 potheads walk by. They go hang out in the Subaru because that's what you do. And then the police come over to us and they're asking us what we're doing there. Again, we're playing with toy cars. And
Pretty obvious, man.
exactly. It's like if you're eating a taco and someone says, "What are you eating?" Why would you ask that question? So the cop asks,
This
"Do you
burrito
have
ruined
anything?"
my life.
That's another funny. Artie was not there for that one, but it was
No, but that was a great story. But then the cop came by. He's like, "Do you have anything anything illegal in the car?" And I'm like, "No." "Are you sure?" "Yeah." "Can we check?" "Yeah." "Are you sure?" "Yes." Well, look, the car is sitting there with the trunk open, the hood open, and the doors open.
We have the battery charger clipped to the battery,
Yeah.
like clearly, like
The car's parked under
A
a
light,
light.
for maximum visibility.
Yeah. And they ask us what we're doing there. Story of my life. But yeah, the time at the Holt structure, we did run downstairs because Artie
Artie
was being harassed by the police. And for some reason, I did happen to have a knife in my sock. I don't know.
I remember
why.
you had
The
that.
knife-
for protection, in case
Yeah, the knife, mind you, is still in the red Pinto right now.
Roll up.
I guess. So I had a knife in my sock. So as I'm running down, the crap, so I grab it and I throw it into the bush because I didn't want to get frisked and have a knife found on me. And then we had to like alert the police officer that we were coming because he was there talking to Artie with his back facing us. And I'm like, we probably shouldn't just walk up directly behind him and go, "Hey!"
Run up, guy, yeah.
So I forget what happened exactly, but they made us leave. They always make us leave.
Well, there was that one time though we were on the roof of the West Covina Mall parking structure, and there were some unsavory types, driving around and we're like, "What are these idiots doing?" Whatever. They were staying away from us. It's a huge parking structure, and then the security guy rolls up. We're like, "Oh, here it is. The security guy's gonna come over here and tell us to fuck off." Oh, sorry.
That's
And and so he comes up. We're like, yeah, we get it. He's like, no. Like, I want to get one for my son. Like, what do you recommend? Like, you guys are more than welcome to stay. We're like, okay, like, we'll keep an eye on this part of the parking lot for you, man. Like, there's some people driving around. You might want to go and see what they're up to. But yeah, no, like, if you're gonna let us stay, like, we're more than happy. We'll clean up. There's some trash over there. I'll grab that before we leave. Yeah, we're good.
right.
Oftentimes we end up cleaning up because we wanted a nice, clean,
pristine,
substrate, for the tire to get maximum either friction or But we would always go and we like do a skirmish line and we pick up
rocks, pebbles, trash,
garbage and stuff like that. Get it all cleaned up and not just pushed aside, but like put into a trash can.
It's just gonna blow back. It's like, oh, there's a trash can over there. Let's put it in the trash can.
We always cleaned everything, and it's like it's just always so frustrating that we still get yelled at and in trouble for literally not doing anything but cleaning.
But I still think the best parking structure was the one by the movie theater in Glendora.
Oh, by the AMC?
Yeah, me, Alberto, and Thomas went there, and
I went there once. Yeah,
it was still under construction. Like you actually couldn't drive up to the top level.
I remember that.
So we parked in the corner by the stairs, and you could just walk up the stairs to get to the top level. Mm-hmm. And that one was the best. I mean, as far as lighting, there was no the parking tire stops. There was none of those. Mm-hmm. And it was a good. It was 2 levels. You go up to the top level and then see. But I remember the first couple times we went there, it was great, and spent as much time as we wanted, no problems. And then the security guy every time the security guard would chase us out.
Do you remember when you took you had your DS, and this was at the Edwards parking lot? Where do you remember? I think we all drove there in I don't know if it was my Mercedes or Thomas's Mercedes. It was Thomas's Mercedes. Do you remember where the battery was on the CL?
That was the time in Glendora.
That was in Glendora?
Yeah, we parked down next to the stairs.
Yeah.
I put the starter box in the trunk, hooked it up to the battery. We got everything ready to go. I started it, and then we just closed the trunk and left everything in the trunk ready to go, and walked up the stairs and drove. But there was the group of that car group. They had all the cars with the stereos and the lights underneath, and they were all doing their thing down there, and we just rolled up in this Mercedes, and they're like, what are these guys doing? Get out. Set up the starter box, get the cars going, you go up the stairs, shut the Mercedes, lock it.
Now Why is your speed control kind of just kicking it there?
Because it flew off one time when I collided with Brandon.
And what you're telling me is that in the several years you've owned this car, you haven't fixed it. Notice where Brandon started this. In the trunk of the CL. If that's not awesome, I don't know what is. Oh man, I miss that smell. Covina Racing right there.
That's right.
What
That's
the hell are
right.
these idiots doing?
Thomas was very unhappy about that, by the way. It's like, what are you doing?
There was lights in there, and and everything. It was like the perfect little luxurious starting set.
It's almost like the Germans designed it specifically
Precisely.
to start a nitro car. And the Germans love hobbies, so it's very likely that they did design it for that. As much as I could go on for hours and hours talking about random RC things, is there anything else about Artie that we're forgetting?
We did he destroy the lunchbox again after the epic drive at the ranch? Like, because we had to buy him that MRC.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. I think what happened was the chassis broke. And this was, remember, this is pre-eBay, this is because now you guys might not know this, but Tamiya has basically re-released everything.
Yeah, I have one of the what do you call the 6-wheeler? I have that one.
Yeah, but like modern, like Tamiya hardly makes anything anymore other than re-releases. They've got tons of everything. So now you can buy whatever the hell you want. But back then, I think Artie had broken the chassis because I had his car. He mailed it to me, and the chassis was broken. The gearbox was broken. I don't think it was as abused as it was previously. I think it was just the remnants of the car just being beat up its whole life. And I think that's what happened. But no, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Like the Bluesmobile, it served its purpose, and now it's just tired.
It just fell apart. It's exactly right.
I'm done.
It's exactly. You get to the assessor's office and done. And we tried. Remember, we bought him the Thunder King when we drove up to Camarillo to visit Allie.
Yeah.
We tried to get him to
the hobby shop. You're like, ooh, this would be good for Artie. It's gigantic. He can see
when
it.
the Thunder King came out, it came with a warranty where if you broke anything,
that's right,
MRC would give you the part.
Wasn't there a buggy version too?
Yeah, the Baja. It was really
I forget what it was called. It wasn't popular.
No, it wasn't. Even the Thunder King wasn't popular. But we bought him that. We brought it back to his house. He refused, didn't want it, so I kept it. And I had that thing for years. I actually don't have that anymore because it was awful.
It was pretty slow. It was pretty slow.
Well, what did you do to it to make it fast? You put two motors you put in it?
I put two better stock motors in it, but I ran the Super Rooster.
I ran the Super Rooster, and then you put the motors in parallel. Because I remember the battery would only last for like a minute.
That's right.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
At
one time and ran the 7-cell
behind Carl's Jr. Where they used to do that jump right there. We spent all day driving. And all right, for our big send off, we're gonna fire up the Thunder King and send it off that jump.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. And that was one of the last times I drove that car because it had this really badly designed gearbox where the gearbox was the rear bulkhead. So anytime you would jump, it would land, it would pull on the gearbox. So the thing was junk. So I'm glad it's gone. It's something I never want to see again. But we ended up buying Artie, or we convinced Artie to buy the MRC MT10M.
No, again, I believe we took up a collection from everybody. Right. And we bought it, but it was MRC's entry into the 10th scale 10th scale market. Right. They had a couple of different there was like a stadium truck version of it. We got him the monster truck version because they had more ground clearance, longer travel, bigger tires, all that good stuff. But I remember I think we just ganked his radio from the.
I think we did because we got him. It had a Tempest ESC that we got from Novak.
Yeah, but I remember I put it together. It was a joy to put together, and I
painted it.
Yeah, that's it. You painted it. I put it together. And
by the way, is in Artie's garage attic. I'd love to get a picture of that one day.
It was like I said, it was really well designed. I love the hinge pin design. It was like a Phillips head screw with a long pin, and then it was threaded just under the head. So you actually just put it into the control arm, and then the threads would cut into the arm, and that's what held it. You know, it didn't have E-clips or anything. It was just
that's typical Tamiya. That's how a lot of Tamiyas
are.
are.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good design. MRC used a really, really soft plastic so that it wouldn't crack over time. A lot of Tamiyas use a hard ABS plastic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it was more like associated type material on that thing, and it was really well built.
It was a nice car. I remember we took that to M&M pretty often, and I remember one particular time, and you were there too, John. We were driving the cars, and I had my King Blackfoot, and Kinwald was there with his phone. This is when we did not get along, and we were driving the cars around, and I was waiting for this group of cars to pass, because you could tell the guys that are actually there racing, and we were there playing, right? So I was waiting for them to pass. They all passed. I took off with the Blackfoot, and then Kinwald came up from behind and purposely hit me from behind, flipped the thing over there, and they all started busting up laughing. This had been the second or third time that had happened. And I was like, John, give me your remote. If I break anything, I will pay for it.
I remember.
So I grabbed your remote. You had your new RC10. You had the one you have right now.
Yeah, the black one.
I went reverse on the track, and I chased him. Well, I didn't have to chase him down because we were coming at each other, and I nailed him head on.
I remember.
And words were said, let's just say. The good news is we ended up talking later on. He ended up being a pretty cool guy, but yeah, words had been said that day. But Artie had his MRC there and was actually doing pretty darn good. Like, it turned out that if he had a car that wasn't a turd, he could actually drive. Now, I love the Lunchbox, but it's not a good car. It's a toy car.
It's not a driver's car. It's
something that makes you laugh. Whereas the MT10M was actually a reasonably capable car, good shocks, good suspension.
Yeah, very good.
It did pretty well.
Yeah, I remember that. It was such a joy to put together, and it was really nice to drive. I mean, I didn't want to rub all the newness off of it, so I just made sure make sure it handled properly, and I drove it down the neighbors front steps, and I didn't want to wreck the thing, but I was like, man, this thing is really nice. Like,
I know the body was really well made. It was really thick Lexan. It had a lot of detail, and yeah, he really didn't. I honestly can't imagine more than 20 battery packs through that truck.
Yeah,
he really didn't drive it that much. I think that was when he was really getting hardcore into his band. So music.
Was Artie with us when we got your F-250 stuck in that creek on the off-road area?
No, he wasn't, and I'll tell you exactly why I know. Because the blue carpet that we used to use to set up underneath his drum set, that carpet just happened to be in the back of the truck. I don't know if we'd played somewhere recently, and the carpet was still in the truck. And then after we got the Ford out of the river, we got it stuck in the sand.
I remember that.
And then so we have this carpet, so we cut it in half and put it under the back tires for traction. And then we took a picture of it after we got it. It's like we had a picture of us with the two halves of the carpet. Hey, Artie, check it out. Wrecked my carpet.
That's my carpet.
Whose fault was it that we went there?
Mine, because we were going up the river, up the mountain road, and we're like, "What's ORV area?" Because it said
we've driven past it many times before.
We had no idea what
ORV. What the heck is ORV? And I'm like, oh wait, off-road vehicle.
Yeah, and we immediately slammed on the brakes, turned around, and
made the worst decision of our lives.
Now I know
we wanted to traverse, but we stopped to take a picture, which was the stupidest thing.
We never would have made it up the other side of the river.
No,
we never would have made it up.
I'm surprised we made it back to the first side.
I know.
If it wasn't for those very, very kind toothless men.
Yeah, they helped tow us out, right?
Yeah, they helped pull the truck out of the back. They said, be careful. We go back up. Right. We'll stay in the dirt. And immediately it gets stuck.
Okay.
Yes, that was not a good off-road vehicle. So thanks for that, John. My dad still complains about how we ruined the back tires on the F-250. It's been 30 years almost.
Put some serious heat in those because it melted the carpet.
That's right. It did melt the carpet. And I remember the back, because we had gotten a flat.
Oh, right.
We had gotten a flat, and then I had to bring the truck home with a flat tire, and then the flat tire and the non-flat tire that was still on the truck were all chewed up. And my dad's like, how did that happen? I never told him the truck was in a river.
So he wasn't with us when we went to Boy's Burgers, which was where the I was like, oh yeah, this place has amazing hamburgers and Mexican food. And there's a picture on the menu, on the drive-through menu. There was a photograph of the different food, you know, a nice picture of a burger, you know, the picture of some taquitos or something like that. But then and there's above the speaker where you place your order, there was a picture of a man in a cap staring almost like spitefully or with some sort of rancor, like staring at this. He's holding a burrito.
So he was very upset.
He was, yeah, he's just staring at this burrito. It's just a picture of a guy looking at a burrito like it ruined his life. But then you, Alberto, you're like, holy moly, that's a Pinto, because you could tell from the instrument.
You could tell by the instrument cluster.
Oh.
But I just remember that photograph. It looked like that burrito had stolen his wife.
Yeah, looking away from the camera, but you could see enough of his expression in, you know, the side of his face here, just like.
And I can still remember those French fries, crispy on the outside.
Yeah,
the
really
inside
good.
was like mashed potato.
Mm-hmm. I think we went there on prom night. Like, are you going to prom? No. What are you going to do? We're going to eat hamburgers and burritos, and then like go race RC cars in a vacant lot.
And then we went swimming in your pool.
That's right.
And then we watched you play Ocarina of Time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you were there too, bro. Was it the three of us?
I remember being there.
Maybe the first part of it.
I remember going to. I think I was there the time when you had when it dawned on you that was a Pinto. I remember also driving in a vacant lot. It was probably nearby to that place, so there was like a massive pile of dirt in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool because the one part came up like this and another part came up like this.
Uh-huh.
But it was just not steep enough where like you could still go up it and like land here.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd get the timing just right. One car would go up like this over another car, and the other car would go down. The thing was actually really fun.
Yeah.
Well, there was also that industrial complex, or it was a commercial complex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we would drive the RC cars same way, drive the RC car from the big car, but the complex was deserted during the week, and it was
right.
perfect black ribbon of asphalt.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, that's the first time that I clocked why because it was so a bit like vacant on the weekends. I think we time trialed my Honda to see what was 0 to 60 was, and it was like it also took like 30 minutes or 30 seconds or something like that. It took forever.
It's better than one of my cars. Now, was that when you had your diesel Tamiya was it the
TL01? The TL01, yeah. It was the I had a Tamiya TL01. Is that the right one? The model? TL01, yeah, with a Ford Escort body.
Yeah.
And
you don't have that anymore, right? You have the body.
I have the body. I don't think I have the car. I think I sold it to Thomas. No, he had a way better one though. But it didn't have. I put it together. I lubed it up, but the gearbox was just. It sounded like just a whining turbine engine. It was so
grindy. It's like a diesel locomotive. I don't know why that thing was so loud.
And then Thomas had his Mustang one, the SVT Cobra Mustang. Yeah. His was whisper quiet.
Was yours the one with the shoelace?
Yes. I had put the Mondeo body on.
What was the function of this? I remember the shoelace. What was the purpose of the shoelace?
The function of the shoelace was to keep, I think, the receiver on, because the double-sided tape got knocked loose in a crash or something like that, and the double-sided tape, like when it fell or where we were, it got dirty. Yeah. So it wouldn't stick anymore. The adhesive was covered in dirt. So I just happened to have like a spare shoelace in my car, and I just strapped the receiver down into against the bulkhead. Yeah.
And the thing is, that was there for years.
It stayed there. It was yes. I didn't like
years.
take it home, peel the old tape off, clean it with some alcohol, and put some new like tape on it. It's like, if it ain't broke, so my face.
Wasn't the extra shoelace like wrapped around the body mounts, like
Yes,
angled up?
Yeah, because I guess
wrapped
you
around the
probably
car.
didn't have. Yeah, you didn't have your knife or something. So
Yeah.
rather than cutting like excess, I just wound it around.
I might need that shoelace later for extended purpose.
Take it
Well,
off.
yeah, it might need it for later, or it provided structural rigidity. Like.
And I had asked you on a number of occasions, like, John, why haven't you fixed this yet? You're like, it's fine. The shoelace stays. Nothing wrong with the shoelace. It's helping the car.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna change it.
don't badmouth the lace, man.
Drag it on your cord, man.
What the lace ever do you, man? But I replaced it with a TBO one, which was a much better car.
That is, in fact, that is still a really good chassis.
It's great. I love it. Oh yeah, it was I got it because it was the 90s. WRC was like just on fire back then with Tommy Mac. So I had the Tommy Mackinnon Evo 7 TBO1, and it was like a dedicated, like that kit was dedicated, even though that chassis was shared amongst other body styles and stuff. That was a dedicated like rally RC car. It had a Lexan chassis cover that slipped over, and it had a couple of just vents near the motor and where you put the radio or the receiver, or to allow airflow. But it was meant to keep the chassis, the innards, clean while driving around in the dirt. Came with knobbly tires, all that stuff. I didn't know when I first unboxed that car. I didn't know what that plastic chassis cover was for because it hadn't been assembled yet. I thought it was just a piece of like filler or some like
Packing material.
Exactly. So I just went, yoink, it just threw it away. And at the end, it's like, when you're assembling and you're all putting the body on and stuff like that, it's like, where's that part? Oh wait, I threw it away.
Because I remember when we first saw that car, it was at Cal Poly in the back parking lot. They were just starting to pave.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at that stage right before they'd put down the asphalt, but after they had graded the dirt. So it was like this sea of rock hard, glass smooth dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And we just spent hours out there just shredding that.
Fighting it, yeah.
Yeah, and you the whole time were complaining about how your car was dirty because if you'd have had that chassis cover, it'd have still been clean on the inside.
Exactly.
And that was back when we were trying to figure out how we could install a bunch of D battery packs in our cars to have headlights and taillights.
Oh wow. Yeah, you were definitely more into that than us, or than me.
Brandon also was, because we also drive the cars at night.
Yeah, because I wanted the yellow like fog lights, like they run in the like the 24 hours of Le Mans, where they have but the GT class where it has the yellow ones. It's like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to put a switch too, because my car's obviously gas powered. I wanted to put a switch on the throttle servo so that we could have brake lights also, but I never did it.
And it's funny because back then, we had incandescent bulbs especially for headlights. I mean,
no LED. LEDs were expensive, and they were like the future. Like,
you had your red ones, your green ones,
and
your amber ones,
mm-hmm.
and those were just enough to glow. That was
mm-hmm.
all they did.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, where'd you go? This one probably has about 22 LEDs on it. Everything lights up, and it runs off of a 1200 milliamp battery for probably around an hour and a half. That shows how good we are now with modern battery technology. And
that's why the headlights of this one are clear.
That's
in anticipation of being lit up.
I remember you doing that because we always had this desire to actually make lights, but yeah, you'd have to run rechargeable Ds, and Ds are very heavy, and then you're going to get what, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Adding 2 pounds to your car. Well, Brandon, John, I really appreciate you joining me here. I know we could have done this for hours, just reminiscing about not
stories
just
in general.
toys and all that, but Artie and us and hanging out and all this stuff. So, fortunately, we still do talk all the time, and we do need to continue doing this because it's, unfortunately very sobering when someone your age is gone. And, Artie had, he had his whole life ahead. It's not that we're 20 anymore, but still, Artie had decades of amusing stories and hilarious things to do. And, I don't think I'll ever be, the same person again without him. And, I'm probably not the only person that feels that way.
Yeah. We're
Yeah, I
getting
mean,
to a certain age where, we're starting to, every now and then one of us falls off, and we're it's funny because all this talk and all these stories, it seems like yesterday.
yeah.
And I turned 41 this month, in a couple weeks, and it's important to stay close. And unfortunately, I didn't know that Artie's going to be taken from us. Otherwise, I would have made an effort to spend more time with him, call him, see him.
Yeah, take it for granted. I'm guilty of the same thing. It's just,
Dude.
Oh, it's not convenient now, and hey, when it's easier and this and that, and hey.
Yeah, my only thing that I can say positive about that is, I don't live down there anymore. So every time I go back down, I would call Artie, and he'd always come by the house. And the last time I was down there, he came by the house. We were just sitting there chatting a bit. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. He goes, yeah, me too. I said, all right, cool. Take me to lunch. So I made him take me to lunch. And that was wonderful, And, again, I was like, we texted all the time, but, I didn't get to see him that often. But the memories that we have with him, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is I wanted these memories down. They're recorded. They're here forever.
Yeah. This is just a small portion of the story, and this is just the specific RC car related.
This is
story.
This is the RC. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is only the RC car nonsense. I mean,
we haven't even touched on going to see bands, going to see rock
shows. We're in the Model Rockets too, and you can only imagine how much fun we had.
No, that we didn't even talk about the time that we tried to invade the convent.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, we could definitely go on for hours and hours about Artie stories, and perhaps we should at some point, because yeah, they were some good stories. So guys, thank you all so much. And next time I'm down, let's meet up.
Absolutely.
All right.
You guys, I love you all. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. All right. So long, everyone.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Cheers.